After closing tens of millions in sales, you can now no longer use the same tactics that you've used previously in 2025. I've worked in sales for the last 16 years, and this year is going to be the first year where you're going to change up everything in how we sell. And here's the 3 things that you need to know to best prepare yourself for sales in 2025. And the first one is emotional intelligence. A lot of the times on Instagram and TikTok, you see all these sales gurus teaching you these tactics on, if they say this, here's what you need to say. And you know something, those tactics don't work. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when I first started working in a specific gym chain in 2015, we would have countless people walking into the gym wanting to change their lives, wanting to lose weight, wanting to be fitter, wanting to be stronger. And the way we could sell to them and how I closed deals in the tens of thousands every single month was simply because as every single person walked in, I said, what's the main thing that you need? What's made you actually come to the gym? And they would say the top layer answer. They would say something like, oh, hey, I just want to lose some weight, wanting to lose 5 kilos, wanting to lose 10 pounds. They would just say something really simple and generic. But then only when I got the depth from them, like, why do they want to lose the weight? What's the main reason? What's the insecurity? What's their deeper desire? But I couldn't actually ask those questions. Do you think I could ask someone straight away head on, so what's the main reason you want to lose weight? Can I ask, like, what's the deeper reason? What's the deeper why? Well, they're not going to answer that. It's too head on. It's too direct. But they are going to answer it when you emotionally listen to them and listen to their tonality and how they're feeling. So if they was to say, yes, I'm actually wanting to lose weight, you can hear it in their voice, their intention behind it. And now, if they was to seem a bit shy, seem a bit closed, and their energy was a bit, their demeanor was just, their arms are crossed, their demeanor's a bit closed off, you can see straight away, this person's a bit shy. So then you might change the way you sell to them. It's not a script. It's actually the way you approach them, the way you ask questions, you read them. And emotional intelligence is about understanding their emotions that they're feeling without you asking them. And that's you being highly intelligent, understanding how somebody else is feeling. And that's also going into how we manage our sales teams as well, but just really focus on the people. And that's really how we get the depth in sales. How do I close hundreds of thousands of pounds every single month? Well, when I speak to a business owner, it is transactional in one way. Hey, I want to make this much money. We want to hit 400,000 a year. We want to hit $1 million a month. We want to hit 700,000 a month. When they say those things, it's the reason behind it. It's what the thing is. Why do they need to get their sales team to perform better? Why does a sales rep need to actually earn more money? And the emotion behind it is what we need to understand. And to understand it, you have to not just only listen to their words, but you got to listen to their body language. You got to listen to how they're saying the thing. You got to listen to, is this person sounding insecure? Are they sounding confident? Are they a type A or a type B personality? And after you listen to them, you'll truly get a grasp of where they're at. And you know, by you understanding their emotions, your questions are far more specific. And when the questions are far more specific, and this is not based on a script, this is based upon what they've said to you, and it's a conversation, because you can't plan a conversation. But when they say something and you truly hear them, and your questions are based upon what they've said, they're going to know they're truly being heard. They're going to know they're not just being pushed into a sale. Imagine this person was just like, hey, how bad do you need this thing? And how long have you been wanting it for? This is what everybody else teaches you online. And the reason why that doesn't work is you're not truly listening to the person. You're not listening to truly what they need. If they have an insecurity, you're going to want them to talk about it. Because if they can talk about it, that means they trust you. And if they trust you and see you as an expert, they're going to buy from you. But there's no script that can tell you, here, this is how to handle it when they say this thing, because everyone has different emotions and feelings. You can't plan for them all. So you can't script out, if they have this emotion, this is what you say. You can understand the theory behind it. And when you understand the mechanism behind a conversation and behind having emotional intelligence, you're going to be able to actually get to the inner depth of someone's deeper desire, be able to understand them, and then you'll be able to pitch them the right product and close them. So if you truly want to make money in 2025, you've got to be able to get enough depth on your sales calls, in your conversations, where you can show clear emotional intelligence. And if you notice, I mentioned about becoming an expert, and that leads me on to point number 2. The product knowledge of an expert is very different from someone who's just selling something. Now think about a product or a service that your business or you sell. Are you an expert in it? The reason why so many founders feel like they can't hire a sales rep and they don't feel trusting to hire a sales rep is because they feel like they won't know as much as I do. And the sales reps that always seem to not close as much as the CEO, the founder, or the sales manager is because they've not truly understand the product. They don't understand the industry. They don't understand the theory behind it. Now, there's a big lesson in sales, and the lesson is, on a sales call, there's actually two things that you sell. You sell the actual person into the program, so you make the sale, you get the money transacted. But the second thing that you sell is not something that people mention. It's actually the method being used to get them the results. And the results are the one thing that they're buying, and they're buying the method from you. They want to know, how are you going to do that thing? And you can only talk about how to do that thing if you truly understand the product. Let me give you an example. You have an agency, and your agency helps people with Facebook ads. Now, when you have a call with someone, and you have a closer or a setter that's speaking to someone on the phone, and they don't have deep knowledge inside the ads manager. They don't have a lot of knowledge in multiple campaigns, on different targeting, on different funnel types. If they don't have that knowledge, when they speak to the business owner, when they ask questions like, hey, what kind of things have you tried before? And that business owner says, well, we tried a VSL funnel, and the VSL funnel had X amount of ROAS. And then when we tried a webinar funnel, it had X amount of ROAS. Do you think that closer who isn't able to dive deeper and give that business owner the trust that they actually know what they're talking about, do you think they're going to buy from them? No, they're not. For them to be able to buy from them, they need to be also seen as an expert. So the first point was all about emotional intelligence. And the second point is all about truly understanding the product. And the product is understanding the industry as a whole, and the product and how it actually helps a prospect. And the prospect is going to be helped when you can ask them the right questions. And to ask them the right questions, you need to be able to dig deep. I'll give you an example. I hired a setter a few months ago, and the questions that he was sending out in cold DMs were very vague. Like, what's your goal revenue? How much revenue do you want to make? Okay, and have you got leads? And should we build you a sales team? Now, these generic questions weren't closing anyone. They weren't booking any appointments in. But then we pivoted the questions and overall trained the setter on being able to ask deeper questions like, hey, how many leads are you generating per day at the moment? Okay, so you're generating 20 leads per day. Do you have a setter actually calling them? Who's calling them if you're setting the calls and closing them and running the business? Oh, well, we actually have a setter, but it's not truly performed. Okay, so what KPIs is he hitting at the moment? Does he have a KPI document? Does he have a scorecard? This setter now is truly trained. He can ask the right questions. And this is why I don't actually message people as much. I can jump in on the odd voice note when someone needs it to, but the setter should be trained by you. And because they're trained by you and they have the right knowledge, or they're trained by the sales manager, they know the questions to ask because they understand the product. So how are you going to fix this? If you're a sales rep, you need to truly understand the product. You need to look through all of the course content for the business that they have in their info product or their coach, consultant, agency. You need to understand all of it. And if you're the business owner, you truly need to give your team all of that support so they understand the product at the highest level. And now you're going into the following year and you've got the two biggest weapons that I've armed you with, but there's one thing that's missing. So you've got the emotional intelligence, and now you know the product knowledge, but there's one thing missing. It's selling with integrity. Why is selling with integrity so important? How is selling with integrity going to make you more money? Let me give you an example. Recently, I had a young man, 18-year-old, who owns an ad agency, and they help businesses within a certain industry run their ads. He came to me and he said, I'm wanting to build my business. I need help. Can you help me? I'm willing to actually pay you whatever fee it is. And I actually said, sure, let's have a call. We spoke on the phone, and I said, can you go through every issue that you're having right now? And he named all the issues. And it turns out of all 5 or 6 issues this young man was having within his business, none of them were sales team related. They were all related to back-end operations, automations, his customer success team. None of them were related to actual sales. So I said to him, hey man, the main thing that we actually do is build and scale sales teams from 50k a month to 1 million a month. I want to work out roughly what specific bottleneck you have. Well, he said, I'm making 200k a month and the next step is XYZ. So I said, well, the normal process is actually how you're hiring a sales manager at this level. Is this something that you want help doing? And he said, I can't hire a sales manager because a product is not productized. So I don't think we can make any more sales. For me to sell him onto a program now with this sales manager, helping him build a sales manager without his product being productized, without him truly being able to grow, it would just be a lie. He would waste his 90 days, his 6 months, his 12 months with us, and he would miss a large portion of it trying to develop his program. So I asked the right questions to see if he was going to be developing anytime soon, if he had the capacity to, but there were so many things broken in his business. I actually said to him, I don't think this is the right time for you. I think you should come back at the right time. And by me saying that exact thing, and this is a lesson for you in sales, if you can say no to someone's money, they will always come back. The great thing about saying no is, one, it keeps your integrity high and you have great faith in what you're doing. You also set a great example for your team. But the other thing is that people often, when they get told no, they often want to work with you more, because they now will come back to you and say, hey, can you help me with that thing? Because I now feel ready. And this is why often I feel comfortable saying no to someone. My sales team know, because they're highly trained, if they speak to someone and it's not a right fit, it's not time for them, don't sell the package. Because if you sell it to them there, they're not going to get results. Then they're not going to refer anyone and your business doesn't grow. Where if you had just waited a few weeks, or if you had just taken a payment and said, we can take something now for a commitment for you to start in a month's time, because I'm always for closing the deal, but being really clear in your language and setting the expectation of when should we start. So this is like a good example of like selling with integrity and then people wanting to spend more money because they recognize you've done so. And this is so important because within the high ticket industry, there's a ridiculous amount of crazy guarantees. There's a lot of lying happening. People lie all the time in this industry. It's a young industry. In the last 5 or 6 years, it's really developed into this place where everyone gives crazy guarantees, especially since the Hormozi $100 million book. People write their guarantee and they give this wild guarantee that they will never fulfill. So what does that do? It reduces trust in the industry because everyone's shouting, we'll give you 10K if we don't get you some leads. We'll give you 5K as a refund if we don't do this. We'll work with you for free forever if we don't do this thing. They'll offer you this crazy stuff which reduces trust because everyone is saying it. So if everyone is saying it and you say it too, others won't buy from you. And if you're the opposite and you say this is not the right fit for you, that person will want to work with you even more. So if you simply realize the psychology behind things, you'll see how people will want to work for you because you say no and because you sell with integrity. So selling with integrity is the key. So those are the top 3 points that you actually need to implement in 2025. Number 1, being emotional intelligence. Number 2, being product knowledge. And number 3, being selling with integrity. And if this video is useful to you, go on to the right hand side so you can see more sales specific videos. And on the left hand side, you can subscribe to the channel. And if this is useful and you found a great gem here, comment below and let us know what it is. I'll catch you on the next video.